Welcome back to Temi Adi Academy. My name is Tokwe, the founder of Temi Adi. I'm a fashion designer and your fashion teacher. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to draft a skirt block. Let's get started. Some tools that we are going to need to draft our skirt block. So we need our pencil, eraser, our tape measure, of course. We'll need a see-through ruler, our pattern master, paper, scissors, and tracing wheel. Okay, so let's start drafting. So I've drawn a line on the sheet of paper we have here. So the measurements that we need, like I mentioned, we need our waist measurement, waist measurement. We need our hip measurement, hip depth, skirt length, and that placement or bust point to bust point. So for me, like I said, we're going to be using my own measurement. So for me, my waist measurement is 32. My hip is 41 and a half. My hip depth is 9 inches. My skirt length is 25 inches. And my bust point to bust point is 9 inches. So I want to talk quickly on hip depth. The average hip depth is usually between 7 to 9 inches, right? So depending on your height or your customer's height. So for me, I'm quite tall. I'm actually tall. I'm about 5'10". No, sorry, I'm 5'9", actually 5'8" and a half, almost 5'9". So I'm tall. So that's why my own hip depth is 9. But if you're shorter than me, maybe of course you will take your measurement, but in case you're not able to take your measurements, you can use an average of between 7 to 9 inches for your depth, for your hip depth. Okay, so those are the measurements we're going to be using to draft our skirt block. Two things before we start drafting. First thing is that usually your front waist is larger than your back waist. Reason being that you have your stomach or your tummy on your front, right? You don't have tummy on your back. That would be weird. But usually you have tummy on your front. So the front waist is usually larger than the back waist. While your back hip is larger than your front hip. Why is this? Because you have your bum on your back. So the back hip is usually larger than the front hip. So you will see how we're going to translate all this into our skirt block or our pattern. So let's begin. Let's begin our measurement. So I've drawn this line over here, right? I'm just going to draw another line here just to get our waistline. We need our waistline. This line I just drew here, let's call it the waistline. Waistline. That's our waistline. I'm just going to write it clearly for you to see. Line. So that's our waistline. Then the next line we're going to be drawing is our hip line. So to get the hip line, we need our hip depth. I just told you that my hip depth is 9 inches. So I'm going to measure 9 inches from the waistline down to 9 inches. And by the way, I'm using this see-through ruler because really it makes drafting really easy. I know some people use, and sometimes I do, especially if I want to, if I need a longer measurement, because this ruler is just 18 inches. Some people use the tape measure to mark. Well, sometimes we'll use the tape measure definitely when I have measurements longer than 18 inches, I'll definitely be using my tape measure. But like using the see-through ruler to draft really makes life easy. Like you're able to match the lines, these lines, with the with your sheet of paper. You're able to get you're able to draw your lines accurately. So this would be hip line. This line, this line I just drew is a hip line, right? The next measurement we're going to need is our skirt measurement. So we're going to be using our tape to take that because my ruler is only 18 inches and our skirt measurement is 25 inches. So I'll just mark 25 inches on my paper here from my waistline. So mark 25 inches from your waistline down. So marking that. So I would use this line on my ruler to match this line. When you do that, you're able to get a straight line really, and then you just adjust your ruler. So let's mark our skirt length here. Before we continue, I want you to be able to understand what we've done so far, because I remember when I started sewing and I started drafting, we started with learning how to draft a skirt, and I was a bit confused as to what are these lines, what is going on here. So let me show you something quickly. So we have our mannequin again. So this is our mannequin. I'm trying to move it to the waistline. So the waistline, yeah. So this is your mannequin. So what we've drawn now is a waistline, which is this waistline, right? Our hip line, yeah, granted, it doesn't match, it doesn't match this hip line, but this is our waistline. This is our hip line, and this line here, so hip line, and this line here is our skirt length. So when you wear your skirt, right, just wearing it from your waist downwards. So this is what we're drafting. This is how we are drafting it. This is what it will look like being drafted. Then when you're done drafting, I guess when we're done drafting, you would have a better idea of what this whole thing looks like. But I just wanted to show you that quickly to just give you, to help your understanding, to help you understand better why we have these lines drawn on our sheet of paper. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing. The next thing we're going to do is take our hip measurement. So this is our hip measurement is 41 and a half. So I want us to take that measurement and divide it into 2. So hip measurement 41 and a half divided by 2. So that is 20 3/4. To this 20 3/4, we're going to add half an inch ease allowance, or ease, let's just call it ease, half an inch ease. So 20 3/4 plus half, that would give us 21 1/4. Yeah, by the way, we have a lot of mathematics in drafting. You can use your calculator. Anyway, so 21 1/4 is our hip, is the measurement that we need for what we're about to measure. So basically what we're doing now is we're just drawing an outline of the skirt, like a box for our skirt. So let's find 21 and 21 1/4 on this sheet of paper. So 21 1/4, this is 21 1/4. So let's mark the same measurement on our skirt length line. 21 1/4. mark it, and then we draw we draw it. Actually, we're supposed to mark it on the waistline as well, but let's do this quickly. 21 1/4. Use my ruler to do it. Just take it up. So that is so we're drafting both our center front and center back at the same time. So center front, this is center front line, center back line. What the hell is center front and center back? Let me quickly show you on the mannequin. So this is our mannequin. This is your center front line, and this is your center back line. So on your front, it's like dividing your front into two and dividing your back into two. So that's why we sorry, center front, we divided, you divide your front into two, divide your back into two. When we took our waist measurement and hip measurements, we took our tape around, right? So we took our tape around the entire body, but we are not drafting the entire body. We're drafting like half of the body, right? So we're drafting front, half of the front and half of the back on one sheet of paper. I hope you understand what I just said. We're drafting half of the front and half of the back on one sheet of paper. So we've marked our center front and center back. Now let's mark our hip, how wide our hip is. So let's do a quick recap. So we took our hip measurement, divided that by 2 inches. We got 20 3/4, and then we added half an inch ease to get 21 1/4. Then we marked the 21 1/4 on our hip line. So I marked that on the hip line, the skirt length and waistline, and then drew a line, and that line was labeled our center back. So now we want to place our hip measurement on our hip line. So how do we go about doing that? We take our measurement again, our hip measurement again, we take it. This time around, we're dividing by 4. Dividing by 4, remember, because we took, we're drafting half of the pattern, right? So we're drafting half of the pattern, we're drafting half of the front and half of the back. So we'll divide by 4. That is 10 3/8. And to this 10 3/8, we are going to be adding ease. The total ease I want to add is half an inch. But the half an inch is, I want to split it between the front and the back hip. I don't want to split it equally, because remember I told you that our front hip is usually smaller than the back hip, or the back hip is usually larger than the back hip. Sorry, the back hip is usually larger than the front hip. So this half an inch, we're going to split it between the front and the back. So how are we going to split it? Let's do it like this. So front hip, back hip, I want to assign 3/8 ease to the back ease, and I want to assign 1/8 ease to the front hip. So we're going to add 1/8 to this 10 3/4 that we have here. So let's do it this way. Move that. So now we'll do front hip is equals to 10 3/8 plus 1/8 ease. That's going to give us 10.5. Our back hip, same 10 3/8, but we're adding 3/8 ease. That is 10 3/4. Please don't think that I'm really good at math. I already did this calculation. I did these calculations ahead of time. So yeah, let's mark our front hip. So we're going to be marking 10.5 on our front hip. So taking your ruler, going to mark 10.5, which is already marked here actually. And then the back hip is going to be 10.75. So 10.75 is what. So basically, you remember the 21 1/4 that we had from this measurement over here. It's basically just splitting this measurement, just doing the math and splitting the measurement between the front and the back. That's what we did. So we've placed the hip measurement. Then we're going to draw that line down. Draw the line down. I'm matching the line on my ruler to the line on my paper. Make sure everything is well lined up. Then draw all the way to the skirt length. We're not drawing to the waistline. We're not going to be doing that because the waistline is smaller than the hip line. For our waistline, we're coming back with our mat. Let me see. Waist measurement. My waist measurement is 32 inches, correct? So we're going to do 32 divided by 4. 32 divided by 4, that is 8 inches. So we're going to take the 8 inches. Remember I told you our front waist is usually larger than the back waist. So I want us to do that that calculation again. But before we do that, let's do it this way actually. So 32 divided by 4, right? I want, for the waist, we're going to be adding our dart. Remember I spoke about dart placement. And for the darts, we're going to be adding 1 dart on the front and 2 darts on the back. The width of the dart, I want it to be 1 inch. So 1 inch dart on the front, 1 inch dart, 2 darts on the back. So 1 plus 2, we need 3 inches. So I'm going to be using 3 inches. I'll call it dart allowance. 3 inches dart allowance, right? So how are we going to go about doing all this splitting? I've come to split. So we have the total waist measurement as 8 inches. So we're going to take that 8 inches, right? And then we'll do our front. I'll do our back. I want to add half an inch ease. So we're going to split this ease again. So we're going to split it this way. The front is going to be larger this time around. So we're going to be adding 3/8 ease to the front and 1/8 ease to the back. So that will give us front. Our front is 8 plus 3/8. 8 3/8. That's easy. Back 8 plus 1/8. 8 1/8. Right? So we'll take the front measurement now, the 8 3/8, and then we'll add the 1 inch dart allowance. So that is 9 3/8. Then we'll take our back measurement, 8 1/8, and add 2 inches dart allowance. That would be 10 1/8. Yes, so moving that aside, so I'm going to mark on our waistline for the front. I'm going to mark 9 3/8. 9 3/8 on the front. And then from the back, I'm going to mark from this place down. On the back, I'm going to mark 10, 1, 8. 10, 1, 8. Okay. And then I'm going to take up this line I just marked. Let me extend it more. I'm going to take it up by half an inch. Why am I taking it up by half an inch? Because our body is not straight. We don't have straight bodies. We have curves in our body, right? We have curves in our body. So if you just make your skirt straight like this, you're not straight. So you need a little bit of curve. So we're going to take this line here and we're just going to curve it into this center front line. Do the same thing on the back quickly. Mark half an inch. Taking it up by half an inch. So just mark that line and just add the dash line for now. I'm gonna do shapings later, but for now let's just add those dash lines. Okay, so I want to put our darts. Oh, actually, before we do that, let's do our side seam shaping. So I'm going to draw a line from this corner to this hip line. So from the waist to the hip, don't worry, it's not straight. Like I said, our body is not straight. We're still going to do, sorry, it's actually supposed to be dash lines. I'm still going to do some adjustments. So to this line, like I said, we don't want a straight line. Your body is not straight. We need a little bit of curve. So I'm going to add 1/8 to the side, just to the side here, and then use that to shape. Then we're going to shape. I did it from here down. I was supposed to shape it from this corner, the half an inch we went up by. So I'll just quickly make that correction. Sorry. So take it up from there down to the. So now that we have our front hip done, front side shaping done, let's move to the back. Same thing, we just draw a straight line, dash lines actually, from this hip over here. Then for the back, we're going to come out. I want to come out by not 1/8. I want to come out by let's come out by 1/4. 1/4. Just mark it. Coming out by 1/4. I'm just taking your ruler from the half an inch from here. So take it from here to this place, So yes, let's put our darts. Let's place our dart. Remember our dart placement measurement. Mine was 9 inches. So taking that 9 inches, we'll take the 9 inches and divide it by 2. 9, sorry, I wanted to say 9.5. 9 divided by 2, 4.5 inches. 4.5 inches. So I need I need to mark 4.5 inches on my waistline on the front. So 4.5 inches. I'm marking that for my dart placement. So like I said, the width of my dart is 1 inch. So I'm going to mark 1 inch. So 1 inch. So I'm going to mark I need the width, like I said, width of my dart is 1 inch. So I'll mark half an inch on both sides of my dart. And then the length of my dart, I want to make it, let's make it 4 inches. 4 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure 4 inches from so this is the 4.5 line, right? So I need this line. I need a line here. Quickly, I need to use it. So I'm going to measure, I'm going to angle my ruler where this line on my ruler is matching this line here. So I'm going to angle my ruler that way, and I'm going to mark 4 inches. So I need the length of my dart to be 4 inches, dart on the front to be 4 inches. So 4 inches from this line here down. So from this line here, not from our original line, from this line that we got from this curve, from this line here down 4 inches. Then I'll join the half an inch to the sides, take it from there to the that end, to that point. That's how that on the front. Don't mind the double lines. Then that placement on the back would be, we'll do half of the back for the first dart. What is half of the back? Half of our back measurement. The back measurement we measured then was 10 3/4. Sorry, that was for the hip. For the waist, our back was 10 1/8. 10 1/8 divided by 2, that's 5 1/16. So we'll mark it here, 5 1/16. Then you take your ruler and mark half an inch on both sides. Remember, I want the width of our dart to be 1 inch. So that's the first dart placement. The second dart placement, I want it to be a distance of let's say 2 inches from this dart placement. So from here, this is our dart placement here. Then I did half an inch on both sides. So from here, I want to measure 2 inches. So 1 2, and then I mark the dart on both sides. By the time you close the dart from this place to this place, this will be the dart line, and this will be the dart line. So it will be, the distance will be 2 inches. So the next thing, I need the length of the dart. I'm going to make the length of this dart to be, let's make it 5.5. 5.5. So taking this line here, matching my ruler to this line, matching the line of my ruler to this line here, line it up. Then I'll mark 5 inches. Sorry, did I say no? 5.5. We said 5.5. So let me make sure I have 5.5 here. 5.5. Then draw your dart legs. So I'm drawing it to this line here. So the same thing, let me just join this line quickly. Same thing on this side, but this dart, I want it to be 5. Let's make this dart 4.5. So 4.5 inches. Match the line on your ruler to this line here, this upper line here. Match that, and then 4.5 inches. 4.5 inches dart. Let me measure to make sure we have 4.5. Yes, we do. So join your dart legs. Yep. Let me just extend this one because I didn't extend it. So yeah, that's our skirt block. We have our darts. We have our darts on our front. We have our skirt length. We have our hip. This is what the skirt block looks like after cutting it. This is the front and this is the back. So we are done drafting our skirt block, and from this skirt block we can come up with different designs. We can draft different designs just by using this skirt block. So the usual process is that the skirt block, when you're done drafting, you would cut it on a sample fabric like a muslin. And when you cut it and then you sew it on a muslin fabric just to test the fitting, you want to know if it would fit the client, or if you are the client, you would test if it fits you. And then if there's any adjustment required, like you notice that maybe the waist is too big or the hip is too big or the length isn't appropriate, you can make those adjustments so you can make those adjustments to your block. So you can decide to redraft the entire block or just make the adjustment on the particular block. And then when you're done making the adjustment, the what you do is that you'd tape this or glue this to a cardstock paper. You glue this to a cardstock paper so you can always use this you can always use your block to draft different patterns. So from this block you can develop an A-line skirt, you can develop a paneled skirt, you can draft your pocket, you can draft your pocket bag, you can add pleats to your skirt, you can add vent, you can add slits to your skirt, and you can do all this drafting just from one block. You can also change the silhouette of the skirt block. So if you don't want it to be straight, because we just did ours as straight, you don't want it to be straight, you can change the skirt block. Like you can make it like a pegged skirt or a pencil skirt. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will see you in my other videos. Thank you.